Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. Excuse me. Massive shout out to Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvolt, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik86, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Renee, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, theflatearthchannel.com, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Tom Herkins, and Windrider. So massive shout outs of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a few people in both G Plus and Discord, so I'll raise the mic on them and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for the first live show. Well, isn't this lovely?
What?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to talk in the house.
What's lovely? The washing machine stopped.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I was trying to figure out what you meant, then I realized it was the washing machine.
No, the washing machine has now finished. The whole idea was I waited for that to finish, so I wasn't so unprofessional as to be talking about my laundry. But thank you for that.
You're welcome. The rinse of the show will continue.
Brilliant.
Okay, so what's the weather like in the UK today?
Yeah, it's just your normal British weather. Fairly dreary.
Okay, summer has gone.
Watched a video this morning by a guy who's comparing Flat Earth YouTube channels and their growth. And he's got two categories, Flat Earth debunkers and Flat Earth promoters. And he compares me, Jeranism, Globebusters with Bob the Science Guy, Simon Dan, and another one who I can't remember. Anyway, he compares these categories, and based on the fact that there's more growth in percentage terms on the Globe side than the Flat Earth side, he declares that Globe Earth is winning. So typically I don't leave comments on such videos, but in this instance I did. I was like, are you under the impression that this means that Flat Earth is losing and that the Globe Earth model is winning? It's like, no, it just shows that one side of your group is censored and the other isn't. You know, if you type in either of those two categories, and you'll get pretty much the same results. You'll get all of the debunkers come up first. So is that a shock to these people? But in some small way, this guy wants to quantify that as though that makes his side of the argument legitimate. It's like, does it make any difference who's more popular when one side of the argument has got, 99% of the Western world who believe them? What a shock. Yeah, they're going to be more popular. More people believe in that
consensus.
Religion. Say again.
Appeal to consensus.
I suppose
it's
so.
an appeal to consensus, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, he's quantifying it in growth terms, so saying, this one's growing quicker than the other. You're like, well, the fact that there's either in my opinion, isn't the standard rhetoric of just telling people about the sphere religion. One is debunking it, the other is claiming they're debunking the debunkers. But they're both related to the same thing, flat Earth in this instance. But those two categories aren't separated in terms of what you search for. You just get the same exact results for both. You know, the top of the list is never going to be me, even if you type in flat Earth debate.
Yeah, they leave that inconvenient truth of censorship out, because back in the day, we all know when we typed in flat Earth, what we saw show up on the first, second, third, fourth page of Google and YouTube. And now when you do it, it's not the same. So they've totally controlling who and what they see and how many pages later they see it.
Exactly. I mean, that particular... I think I know why I reacted, actually. It's because I would always consider myself first and foremost as a YouTuber. So obviously if there's a subcategory of something that's promoted above me, when I am the original subcategory, you think, well, that's a bit unreasonable. But there we go, that's life, right? I don't control the platform. I'm very gracious of having the platform in the first instance. But ultimately speaking, it's their rules, and they promote debunkers over and above the original... Sorry, they promote the debunkers of the debunkers above the debunkers. We're the debunkers. We're debunking heliocentricity and that religion of the Western world. And the debunkers of the debunkers would be the anti-flat earthers.
Yep, it's obvious when you've been, let's say a brand new person hears flat Earth and says, I'm just role playing here. Oh, people talking about flat Earth, that's ridiculous. Who would put a video on flat Earth? I'll just go to YouTube and see what I can find. As soon as he goes to YouTube, debunk, all these flat Earth debunk channels. Now, if he had done that in the past, he would have seen flat Earth channels debunking the globe and said, you know what? He's got a point. You know what? That makes sense to me. But he can't say that anymore, because all he's going to see is the hijacking of that page. So it shows the other side overwhelmingly at the top. And he doesn't have the patience, because he's got to go to work. He can't go down 50 pages.
Right. Like I say, for my outrage isn't necessarily that people aren't receiving my information, other than people aren't seeing my channel and me as a YouTuber. You know, regardless, it's just, well, you just expect the fair crack of the whip as anybody else, but in reality, you know, I personally don't get that.
Well, I remember when you actually used a qualifier or a measurement scale of how many minutes or hours your channel gets actually watched versus the YouTube average. And if they went by that, you would be high up.
Maybe. Qualifying it in these terms to me just seems a little bit silly. So I've had it happen multiple times. Typically it's globe earthers who say, I've had so many views in so much period of time, therefore my channel's better than yours. You're like, oh, good for you. You don't seem to appreciate that we all exist as little islands, and YouTube encourages us to talk about each other and interact with each other and collaborate with each other because we're little islands. So it's kind of irrelevant and not necessarily even true. It's true for one number of views versus one number of views of one video when I'm making them daily. So from that point of view, it's like, okay, yeah, well, you can mathematically qualify that you're better than me if that makes you feel better. I'm sure there's plenty, if not tens of millions of YouTube channels that are better than mine and more popular than mine and get more views and more watch time. So what? If you just focused on that, you'd go nuts. But ultimately speaking, it's just in this instance, I felt the categorization was unreasonable. If you're going to try and make that point, you can make it a lot better by saying, look at the number of just flat out promotion of globe. Nothing to do with the conspiracy it's claimed to be when it comes to flat Earth. Well, if you just look at how many global videos are made about just general globe stuff, well, it permeates every part of your language, let alone the videos on YouTube. It's riddled throughout everything in Western society. So if you just took a focus group of how many videos are made about the globe, or about heliocentricity, or about space, well, it would outnumber us by orders of magnitude. It would make his point much better. But in my view, when you compare anti-flat Earth with flat Earth, they're kind of the same subset. You know, they exist for the same reason. So it's not really a good comparison. Like I say, a much better comparison and would be much more stark figures would be, look how many videos come out and the popularity of them when it's just someone talking about space. And then look at the number of videos that come out that just talk about the flat Earth. And obviously, there's 99% of the Western world are just going to tune into the space video where they might not even be searching for flat Earth. So that would be a much more comparable group. But that group of flat Earth would include everything that came up when you searched flat Earth, as opposed to space. Well, when you search for it and it's all anti-flat Earth videos, that makes no difference when you're making your comparison. Because if they're debunking us, they're talking about and comparing and looking at our notes and looking at our videos and talking about this subject, even though they're debunking it. So to me, it's the same subset versus just searching for space, for example. And there's going to be a lot more, like I say, it's the religion, the current religion. So there's going to be a lot more videos that just come out of from people who don't even know we exist. And the people who are looking for their videos aren't even typing anything to do with this subset at all, let alone the subset of the subset. But there we go.
No, you make sense. That makes total sense, because there's a whole separate subject of space and all things to do with space that we know that we are on the opposite side. And then there's, like you said, the subset, the flat Earth, and then the anti-flat Earth. Well, pay us more compliment than that. I don't know how you could do it. You can't have an anti-flat Earth channel without paying a compliment to a flat Earth channel.
Yeah, but the conclusion of this guy was that therefore Globe Earth is winning. That was his conclusion. Or Flat Earth is losing, whichever way you wanted to slice it up.
Yeah, it's not an equal comparison.
Not only is it not an equal comparison, it's a reification. The nature of our reality, one aspect being flat, has sod all to do with popularity on YouTube. The nature of reality doesn't care what this dude thinks is winning, and neither do I. Let's say we were completely forced off YouTube 6 months ago, and we were all purged. Well, that wouldn't change the nature of my reality at all. What would you say? Oh, Globe Earth wins. Well, no, the Globe Earth religion remains the most prevalent, would be a more accurate description of that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's you could say that with true confidence, because at the end of the day, you're about truth, and you're about debate on the subject of the truth. Whereas it seems like all the other sides are about hiding what the truth might show, and they just keep reifying everything.
Yeah, turning it into a competition about who's winning in statistical terms on YouTube. It's like, really? Has it really come to this for you, that you're looking so desperate to find affirmation of Globe Earth rhetoric that you'll look for a qualification through statistics on YouTube? Okay, if that makes you sleep better, good for you.
Well, the report would have been much better. Go on. Somebody try to say something?
Yeah, everybody comes to this topic an anti-flat earther, pretty much. Everybody's looking to debunk flat earth when they start looking into flat earth. So I don't think that's good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in it since the time I saw it being presented. I haven't left it. Nathan has a show about it. He's in it since he saw it. Other panel members are in it since they saw it. We're not the flighty people that see something. Oh, they lied to us about the nature of the earth. Okay, I'll just go back to baking bread.
Globers are very desperate these days.
Yeah, because people like us exist. Once we see something and know that we've been lied to on a massive scale, we say, okay, I'm one guy in this area and I'm going to take a stand for this. I may be the only guy in this area, but let me see who's on YouTube. And let me see. So now I got people all over the world who are feeling the way I feel, and we're all taking a stand against this massive lie. And this little army of truth seekers is scaring them. I love it.
It's awesome to be able to think for yourself, eh?
The only way. The only way to think for yourself is the only way. Any other way, you're a robot. But I don't know of any other way. This is the way I've always been on all subjects. So to me, it's like all these people that go with the crowd, I don't understand them. If you internally feel something is wrong, why go with those people who are doing the thing you know is wrong? Like, to make a stand.
Yeah, but have you not realized people have been brought up with a very peer pressure kind of vibe? You have to go with the crowd.
But see, I don't realize that because peer pressure never had that effect on me. So I can't ever realize that.
Yeah, me neither, but I'm saying it's part of society today. See, most people, that's how they're brought up with.
I know what you're saying. I do see it. I do measure it, but I can't realize it because I'm not built that way. For some reason, it doesn't affect me. It's like, oh, I don't care if there's 10 people doing that. It's the wrong thing to do.
With you 100%.
Well, there's two of us now.
Hey, Paul, congratulations.
Hey, Paul.
Good morning, all. How you guys doing? Losing sleep, as Nathan would understand.
Is your second one not a sleeper?
I didn't catch that. Say it again.
So did your second one not a sleeper? You've got a fairly terrible line.
Yeah, she's coming and going. Sorry, I'm using my computer instead of my Chromebook, so I won't talk very much. I'll just listen. I might share something here and there. She's not sleeping very. Well, she's sleeping a little bit in between feedings.
Ah, that sounds familiar. Like our first. Our second was brilliant. She sleeps a lot, and therefore it seems like no more work having two than one. But I would imagine if the situation was reversed and you have one and you're like, oh, this is fairly easy, and then you have a second that doesn't sleep, it would be a proper shock to the system.
Yeah, we were getting used to it. We're adjusting as usual, remembering all the past events and how we coped with it.
But congratulations anyway. I'm sure it's still absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. She's beautiful. Actually, she looks a lot like Lily, which is funny. Which we thought she'd be completely different, but she looks a lot like Lily. So we'll see how she grows and what she looks like later.
You'll have to remind me of a name. I know it's a nice name.
Jessie.
What's her full name?
Well, you'll like the middle name, Jesselyn. The formal name is Jesselyn Eleanor Hall.
Jesselyn. Okay.
Yeah, that's her formal name. We call her Jessie, but her formal name is Jesselyn.
That's really pretty.
I'll drop you guys a photo in Masterbeat so you can see, but I won't post it for public consumption.
Thanks. So what's she now? A week and a half old or something?
Yeah, she was born on the 29th, so right at a little over a week old. But yeah, so probably 9-10 days old. She's over here sleeping next to me. I had to bring her downstairs and put her in the swing last night. She didn't want to go back to sleep, so I had to put her in the swing. So we've been down here in the living room most of the morning.
Ah, babies. The other bonus is the second one seems, or at least in my experience, seems to pick up a lot from the first. So Clover watches Eleanor and has learnt to toddle and walk about and stuff much faster.
Yeah, we're kind of anticipating that because we got a neighbor that just had their second child and the same thing kind of happened. So we're kind of anticipating that. Of course, Lily's already trying to bottle feed it. I had the bottle laying on the table yesterday, and Jessie was in the swing. Turned my head for a second. Next thing I know, the bottle's in Jessie's mouth. I was like, "Wow, that was fast. I gotta be careful."
Yeah, the only downside to that is it all creeps up on you. So I can remember really distinct moments when Eleanor stood up or started walking and stuff. Whereas with Clover, it's like bang, bang, bang. Suddenly she's up and she's walking around, and you're like, what? She's still a baby. Where's this all going so quickly? Slow down, little baby. Don't develop so quickly.
There, I just
Oh.
dropped you a picture in Master B.
I see it.
It's
Very
beautiful,
pretty.
Paul.
Cute.
I don't know if you have this in the UK, but they have this photographer that goes around every hospital and every maternity ward, and they take pictures. Of course, we got suckered into getting professional photos done. You know how it goes.
We did. I don't want to sound like you've done something wrong, but I saw the flash and was like, no. Because they had about 3, at least the one that came around the hospital when we were there, had like 3 umbrella lights and a big massive flash on the camera itself. And when they were taking pictures of other people's kids, I was like, that's pretty intense right there.
Well, ours, they did a little different with us. The photographer didn't have any of that. She just had her camera, and she had the flash hitting like the ceiling or the wall, and it was enough to create that. So that's actually from just her coming in, flashing off the wall. I think pretty good.
Sure, I mean, this one did the same, but even still, it's, just seemed like a massive bright flash to me, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to subject my newborn baby to that. No thanks.
I understand.
Good morning, people.
Hello there, Chocolate.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, Paul? Got a baby, man.
Good morning. I just dropped a photo in Master B. If you haven't seen it, I just dropped it.
Okay, cool, man.
Hey guys, can I say something? I gotta go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was looking into that one guy that claimed GPS proves the ball or whatever. What was his name?
Tim Osman.
Right, I was looking into that, and I found a Stanford professor. I don't have my source right now. I have to get all that together. But he was saying that special relativity is proven because their satellite or GPS wouldn't work without special relativity because all the data points give them a flat plane.
So what you're saying is it has to be assumed to be a sphere in order for it to be a sphere. That's pretty much what we said to him.
Yeah, but to use GPS, I mean, because GPS the data points from it are a flat plane, and then they apply special relativity to wrap that flat plane around a ball.
Yeah, we know.
And they consider that a proof of special relativity.
Yeah, that's circular reasoning again, isn't it?
Everything is backwards, the way they say it.
They use special
Yeah,
relativity
I
to wrap it around a ball, and that proves special relativity. Silly that sounds.
Because first of all, yeah, they're pretty much like they take their biggest weaknesses and pretend they're strengths. Like you're taking these data points that give you a flat plane, wrapping around a ball, and saying, "See, that's proof that special relativity works."
It's a good way of putting it. They take their worst weaknesses and turn them into their claimed strengths. So there's a couple of recent examples. This is a good example of that. You're right, but in terms of their begging the question automatically of a sphere in the first instance, this would be their example of that. They can't do it. Another shout out to Validation Boy. Every single globe proof ever will start with the assumption you're on a globe. It's just much more overt in this example, and they literally will say it with such vigor that you go, well, obviously that's perfectly acceptable. No, you're just declaring boldly that you're going to beg the question and wrap your data points around a spherical surface and then claim it proves general relativity. No. Either way, the other 2 examples are, firstly, you've got the edge that they ask us for. So they've got an edge, the boats go over it. It's the physical edge of a model sphere that they claim we are on, and they reify the edge of the horizon into an edge of a sphere model. Well, their way around that is to demand that we give them an edge. So it seems to circumvent the fact that they have an edge that they're asserting in all their examples, but they demand we give them one. Keeps us busy looking for an edge if we bite, or saying we don't have an edge if we don't bite, all the time ignoring their worst weakness, the fact that they've got a reified edge of a sphere in their model that's being placed upon the not actual position where the sky meets the ground. The other one is Coriolis effect. They don't have any deviation. Coriolis effect is a not actual deviation, one that you would see from the ground if you launched a drone. You're moving away from it on a claim to be spinning Earth, therefore it seems to drift away from you. But we don't see that. So it's a massive flaw. It's a massive weakness. So they turn that into a strength by just begging the question, demanding that these proofs actually prove we have this deviation, and then argue all day about how the Coriolis effect is actually in effect when it's not doing anything, and the reasons and whys and wherefores of why it's not doing anything, so long as they have a third reference frame of an Earth that spins in every example. So it's a convoluted way of turning their worst weakness into what they claim to be a strength. There should be a deviation if we're on a spinning Earth, so we'll claim there is. No, there isn't. No, there isn't because of this. Yeah, but no, there isn't. Yeah, but because of this, and we're assuming that we're turning when we step off a roundabout in the example I give you to make you confused. So yeah, they turn their worst weaknesses into their claimed strengths.
Nathan, I'd like to make a comment here. Remember all the NASA documents, Martin Marietta Aircraft Company documents, McDonnell Douglas documents, Raytheon documents, on and on and on. Remember those reports and what they said?
I don't pay attention to news. But go on.
They said pretty much this. This report documents the derivation and definition of a linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Yeah, now you've said it, I do remember it. Hey, Brian.
So because the Earth is flat and non-rotating, all true measurements are based on that. And then, as our friend said, they wrap it around their lie.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where did that come from?
That came from, hold on, NASA document.
NASA. The same wonderful NASA that shows us pictures of a spinning magical water ball in a vacuum.
Yeah, but when they show us,
same NASA.
Yeah, but when they show us, sometimes the image will start stationary and start moving in the cinematography. So they've got to get around. It kind of starts to spin.
Well, that's funny though. I mean, they show pictures of that, but then in official documents they talk about how Earth is flat and stationary. When they're actually putting vehicles in the air, they have to take it as flat and stationary, but for artistic purposes, it could be a ball. That's cute.
Well, it's just the religious rhetoric. It's just a model. But when you've actually got to deal with reality, then you've got to treat it as stationary and flat, because that's the nature of our reality. It's obviously and observably flat, and we blatantly aren't moving in any direction when we're standing still. But to assert that we are is just part of their heliocentric religion and the rhetoric of the heliocentric sphere model, which we don't live on.
Well, the NASA document that I'm referencing is publication 1207, August 1988. So they've known for a while.
I'm going to do a quick shout out. I'll do a shout out to him on the live show as well, but he joined while this was running, this pre-show. So shout out to Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth. He's joined as a lion. He's also one of my Patreons. Hence, he's going to get a double shout out. What a name. Burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth.
I love it.
Oh, in the Discord, is there somebody named Globosexual?
Yes.
Right. Well, this globosexual person has been very avid that he would like to debate us and bring all his globe proofs. He was actually on 24/7 earlier practicing or something to that effect. So I made sure to tell him I would give him a special shout out in order for us to be ready for all his globe proofs that he will be bringing today.
You going to take up the reins, Chocolate?
I don't care. I know he wanted to speak to you, so that's why I'm giving him a special shout out. But I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
Can I say something real quick? Just make sure he stays on target. Don't jump from one topic to the next. So we stay on a target or on a topic until that topic is resolved. Would you agree?
Yeah, until there's a concession.
You're asking me?
I don't mind how the debate goes, but if he specifically wants to talk to me, I'm going to struggle to moderate him and Chocolate, which is why I nominated Chocolate.
No, I was just doing the introduction, but he didn't want to talk to me because I was in there talking to him, and he was just talking shit. So
Yeah,
apparently he wants the head honcho.
if he wants to talk to me, I don't care. Fine. Maybe he'll answer some of the housekeeping questions.
It's an interesting name he's got.
Not even going to ask.
Neither will I.
I don't know what it has to do with it. That's the point. It's like it doesn't have no bearing on it.
They have an interesting way of debating. They just keep reiterating their points and ignoring all rebuttals, and then claiming they win. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. You're not new here, are you?
No, sir. I've been watching you for the past 2 years.
Yeah, some things never change, eh?
Well, that's why
No,
when go on.
Sorry, Tanth. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's why when Blind Sniper was on the show last week, I believe, or a few days ago, and he conceded that everything would equalize if you had an atmosphere next to a vacuum of space. I wanted him to say how that would change his view of space, because he has the opposite view. But he just admitted that if you have a vacuum next to an atmosphere, the gas would fill the available space. And he got to the point of not sounding stupid by saying, well, it obviously would equalize, because he had two examples, one chocolate provided, another one as well. And but he wouldn't concede. He lost that point. He became a flat earther right there.
Well, they like going over like how is it they do it? Like with gas pressure without a container, they'll talk about all the things you can do with gas pressure once you have it. They'll never address the original question.
Right. But he got to the point.
Can I just say something to Nathan there very, very quick?
Maybe. You okay, 10th?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm
Nathan,
fine.
just sorry,
Go ahead,
lads,
Brian.
just a second.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be in and out throughout the show. I'll be on mute and in and out. But if you need to make space on the panel, just say to me and I'll drop, because I'm kind of doing stuff and I'm trying to stop and talk and that kind of thing. So I'll be in and out as much as possible. But if you need the space, just let me know and I'll drop. Okay, I'll go to this.
I wouldn't worry too much. This like 10 is typically enough for the internal panel. 15 on the Discord. To be honest, it's more than I can manage as it is. I mean, I wanted 10 people in the live stream, and somehow it's weaseled its way up to 18 at one point, and I weaseled it back down to 10, and now it's managed to stabilise. I don't know how these numbers change so frequently. You'd think you'd just set a number, but clearly there's other people who want more in the show. But I'm good. 25 people is more than I can manage.
Okay, it's just if someone wanted to go on onto the Google accounts and I wasn't making any noise or joining in. I was just saying, just say to me and I'll drop and they can come in. Now I might end up talking non-stop through the whole debate. I don't know what will happen. So it's hard to know.
No worries.
I guess.
Okay, sorry for it.
I guess that's what you mean by Brian's logic. I'm here, but I'm not here, but I might talk all the way through it.
Yeah, exactly. I might say nothing, or you won't be able to shut me up. You're not gonna.
So, Globesexual, are you going to join in with the housekeeping questions, or just ignore them all and then make your point? What's your plan? Alice's plan.
Well, I'm going to go as soon as the live show starts, so y'all can have more room on the panel. I just wanted to say that about special relativity and how they consider that a proof of special relativity, that it turns a flat plane into a ball.
It's all good. There's gaps, don't worry. Both panels, there's at least one gap.
Total nonsense. The Earth is obviously and observably flat, and they have to make up stuff to make it sound like somehow it's a ball. And that's one of those things you just stated right there, special relativity.
Yeah, you have to be
Right.
special to believe.
They consider that they know what everything is already, and they take the sky, which you can map as a celestial sphere, and assume that that's actually reality, the part that you can't go to, and ignore everything that they can test.
Well, when they take the celestial sphere and say use it for celestial navigation, they say you have to push it down and make it flat for it to work. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Ranty's just joined, so I'm sure he'll be telling us about flattening, but I'm going to start the live show, even though we're actually 60 seconds early.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Righteous Force, 10th Man, Ranty Flat Earth, Paul Hall, Flatsoid, Chocolate Saying, and Brian's Logic. I think I've covered everybody in the G Plus panel. Hello, welcome one and all.
Hello, hello.
Everything's
Good morning.
Afternoon, Nate.
Good morning.
Also got a fair few people in Discord, so hello to everyone on the Discord panel. Good to have you.
Hello, Nathan. Nice to be here.
Good to have you, globosexual. Hello to everyone else. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Hello, Nathan.
Not from Fountain Valley.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Plenty. What do you mean by signs, though?
It's not a self-explanatory
What
question.
do you mean by signs?
You need me to paraphrase the question, any signs of Earth curvature? That needs paraphrasing for you. Really?
Do you mean evidence, perhaps?
Evidence would be proof, so whatever you've got, mate. What have you got?
What about photographic proof?
Don't need to qualify it, just tell us what you've got. Don't check every stage whether or not photographic proof of Earth curvature. What have you got?
Well, photographic proof, there's plenty of photographic proof on, on the internet. There's heaps. There's like heaps of high altitude sort of footage and photographs of the Earth as a sphere.
So, sorry, you said high altitude.
We've all seen it.
You can't get to see the Earth
To
as a sphere.
deny it.
You can't get to see the Earth as a sphere
Eh?
from a high altitude balloon.
I didn't say it was a balloon.
You said that high altitude, then you said Earth is a sphere. Well, those two things don't happen. So are you just mistaken?
No, I said that photographs and footage taken from high altitude. I didn't say where they were taken from. I didn't mention any balloons.
So high altitude.
I mean, they could be taken from balloons, but I don't know.
I've just said can't get a picture of the Earth as a sphere from a high altitude balloon.
How do you know that? Have you been up on a high altitude balloon?
In loads of high altitude. Sorry, why are we arguing this? What have you got? Have you got a picture from a high altitude balloon that shows Earth as a sphere? Can you show it me?
Not at the moment, but I mean, like I said, but I didn't say it was from a high altitude balloon. I said it might be.
Might be.
And
What have
you
you
were
got?
the
I've
one
asked you
that
4
came
times.
up
You're
with
getting
this
tedious, mate.
balloon.
I've asked you what you've got. Don't tell me what I can go and find. Just listen to me. Don't tell me what I can go out and find or what you claim is available. Show us what you actually have.
I can show you a sign of curvature, Nath.
Brilliant.
Do you have anything that demonstrates Earth curvature?
Do I really have to search for a picture? I mean,
it's your claim. I'm asking for signs, and you're saying what? You really want me to go and actually give you something I claim is Earth curvature? No, you can just shut up. If you've got nothing, shut up.
Right, that's mean.
Is that it? That's your evidence of Earth curve? Go out and Google it. Prove my claim for me.
I suppose it's not evidence now, is it? Because according to
you haven't given us anything. Are you dumb? You haven't given us anything.
You're only able to give us a coherent sentence.
Let's see. Alright, let's see.
Is this going to take long? I thought you got this covered. I thought you were ready to challenge us. What do you mean you'll go away and do something? This is the first question.
Well, while I search
only
for
7 more after this, buddy, so no pressure.
No offense, Nathan, but this guy sounds absolutely wasted.
I don't want to move on. He said he's got a claim. He's just on his way to get it, apparently.
Why don't you come back when you're not tired and debate with full energy then, and
I
have
don't want to
your
make that assumption.
evidence ready to show.
No, hold on. Is this going to take long?
Not
whatever it is you're doing.
Well, let's see. Let's see. What's this?
Did anybody understand that?
Alright, okay, first one.
Wait. Is this the same guy that was in 24/7 telling me how he was ready to come here and destroy us and hand us our asses? This is the same guy?
I never said that.
Bro.
You never said that.
Words in my mouth, chocolate. Jeez. Right.
Okay, right. I'm happy to move on. Fine. No worries. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, Ranty?
Oh.
What is going on?
I don't know, but it's funny. It's making me laugh. It's infectious.
Okay.
Right, let's move on. Any evidence? Oh my God. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? Go on, try and control yourselves. We'll get through housekeeping quickly. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
I think we should just laugh through all of housekeeping questions.
What's going on? I thought somebody was... Is it just been chocolate? What's going on, mate? You gave a big intro for this. What's going on?
I don't know, bro. The guy came in, he said I was ready to take on Nathan and you guys suck, all of this crap. So I'm like, okay, I'll set it up for you. And yeah,
well, questions
there you go.
I don't have an answer to these questions because I don't have evidence for the distance to the sun. I'm just, you know, it's
Dude,
just common knowledge
coherently. I can't even understand what you're saying.
3 million miles away. You know what I mean? Like,
common knowledge. But we look for evidence. We want evidence of it as opposed to just the common knowledge, which is wrong.
Like I said, that's why I was quiet because I can't answer this question. I don't have evidence, so that's why that's why I didn't say anything.
Doesn't that concern you? You're a globehead,
so
right?
why
Man, he's crushing it, all right.
why were you so avid on coming on here and telling me how you wanted to come here and do whatever it is that you wanted to do? But now you're like, I have no evidence, so I'm just gonna be quiet. Why'd you waste my damn time?
Well, I wasn't on the other server saying that I had evidence. I was there asking you questions. I was asking the flat earthers questions to see if they had evidence for their claims. Do you know what I mean? If they had scientific evidence.
There's no claim. The Earth is
I don't
obviously and
come. I never
observably
came
flat.
on
The
the
claim is
asserting
that we
that
live
I
on
had
a ball,
scientific
right?
evidence because you
The
can't have
claim
it.
is we live on a
You know, you
ball,
can
but you
only
just said
make
we don't have any
observations.
evidence
You
for that.
can't
So I
get
guess we
past
could
that
just move
first
on,
step.
right? Thanks.
What was that? Sorry, you were
Saying
sort
if
of
you haven't
like
got
talking while I was
evidence,
talking.
let's just move on. If you haven't got anything, then
Well, yeah,
okay.
like I said, I don't have evidence. That's why I was quiet.
So why are you a globehead?
So he's sort of cutting out there. All I caught was Globehead.
Why? Why are you a globehead?
Of course. If by that you mean, do I think the Earth is a ball? Then yeah.
Hold on, I'm confused.
I
Why
don't-
are you a globehead? Yes. I don't understand.
Well, I don't particularly like the label Globehead.
My
because my head is
apologies.
not a globe.
Okay, you're right. It is a derogatory term. I'll rephrase the question. Why would you believe in the reified model that is a heliocentric sphere Earth? Why would you believe in that?
Because we've got plenty of evidence for it, like plenty of photographic evidence.
We covered that.
I mean, you've got
We covered that. You
sunsets
haven't.
and
Sorry. We
whatnot.
covered,
But I mean,
guy, dude, I'm interrupting you because you were here when we were discussing the fact that they just reassert their claim. And yeah, ha ha ha. Yeah, you get to the point where they ignore the fact that in this instance, you haven't presented anything. But you're saying we've got these pictures that you haven't presented. This is you. I can't believe I'm having to educate people on how to debate. You're making a claim, you personally. So you need to back that claim. Now, by reversing the burden of proof, which is saying I can go and look it up, or appealing to consensus, which is saying that generally everyone believes this, both are logical fallacies. They're not making your point, but you're still appealing to it, even though it's been smashed. Do you understand that? These photos have been smashed already.
by who?
Did I not just say this 25 seconds ago? Number one, write this down, get a pen. You are the one making this claim that we've got pictures. Now, we, in this instance, is us here. Now, we haven't got pictures because you, the one making the claim, haven't given us any. So that's point number one. Point number two, don't know if you're writing this down. What you did was tell me to go out and look for the pictures that you claimed as your proof. That's a fallacious argument, void, logically unsound, because you are making me prove your claim. That's point number two. Point number three. You are now appealing to consensus. We are collectively just the people here, and you're appealing to this royal we of other people who you haven't provided photos to or from or given us. So you've used three logical fallacies, all of which involve these pictures. They've been debunked by me. This is now the third time. And on this third occasion, I'm speaking slower, pronouncing my words as clearly as possible, and separating out the individual debunkings that I've done on three separate occasions. Do you understand that I'd prefer at this juncture that you don't start appealing to pictures you haven't given us?
I understand what you're saying here, right? I do. That's why I said I don't really have any scientific evidence as such. But I came here to question you guys to see whether or not you guys had scientific evidence for your claims, because you were always sort of demanding it of the globe earthers. But you
sorry.
guys don't have
But you
a
were
reason.
thoroughly misinformed,
No, it's
buddy.
okay. There's a reason for that. There is an assertion, a positive claim, that we live on a sphere. Now, conceded on both sides is the fact that the nature of reality that presents itself to us is flat. So both globeheads and flat earthers accept that the reality we deal with on a day-to-day basis is a flat one. So beyond that obvious and observable reality, we have a positive claim that it's not as it seems. It's actually a sphere. Now that's the positive claim, because beyond what we observe, flat reality, there is no evidence of curvature. But your assertion beyond that of us asking you to back the positive claim you believe in, and I'm asking you why you believe in it, for you to ignore all challenge to your lack of photography. We're not even being given a chance to point out why the photography that you haven't given us doesn't prove you're on a sphere. You're not even giving us that chance. You merely used fallacy and told me to go and get them. So you're getting nowhere and still haven't answered why you believe in a sphere, other than to reassert something that's been debunked on this very show.
Well, like I said, don't have evidence for it. Like, you don't have evidence for the flat Earth, so we should just move on. Because
Sorry, why are you
neither
telling
of
me?
us have
Sorry,
evidence.
sorry, why are you
For our
now
belief,
telling me
yeah.
I don't have any evidence when the audience is watching evidence going by as we speak? In fact, on every single show, visual proof of the obvious and observable nature of reality is presented as we have these conversations. So why on earth, when I've pointed out that you have a positive claim beyond the nature of our reality, that is that we are on a sphere, and you have no evidence to back that, you're now saying you don't have... No, it's not me getting smashed here, and yet I do have evidence. There's a whole playlist of
What
it below
visual
the video. Have
evidence are
you
you talking
watched
about?
any of it? One of them's labelled Flat Earth Proof. Have you watched it?
Which one?
The one labelled Flat Earth Proof. Simple.
No.
What about any of the pictures we present that are on
But
screen?
how is that
Listen,
evidence? They're
don't
just- they're
interrupt
just
me. You
photographs.
said you... Shut up!
They just...
Shut
how,
up!
How can I
Shut
verify
the
those
fuck
photographs?
up! Shut up! You've said I don't have evidence. You're an outright liar when it's on screen for the duration of the show. I am presenting pictures. Now, you're ignoring them because you're dumb and telling us you've got pictures that consensus says prove sphericity. You haven't given us any. I'm presenting them daily, and you're telling me I haven't got them as a defence. No, I have. I've got plenty of evidence of the obvious and observable flat reality. It comes my way without me even asking for it. Now, you, on the other hand, haven't presented jack. And I'm asking why on earth, when you haven't got any evidence, and when you say you have, it's merely appeal to consensus or burden of proof reversal fallacy, why you have this religious belief. And you still haven't answered. You're just telling me I haven't given you proof of my belief, when I'm not making any assertions.
So you do agree it's a belief then?
You're back to talking about me. I asked you why you have this belief in the positive claim of Earth's sphericity.
I told you why, didn't I? Told you about the photographs.
So you are literally going to ignore every last word I've just said.
How am I ignoring what you said?
I've just repeated.
You
I
haven't
pointed
been able
out
to
it.
verify that the photographs
excuse me.
aren't real.
Excuse me. I
Just
pointed
like
it out.
I can't verify that you photographs that you said that you post are real either.
They're on screen
So-
now. You ask me about any photograph you like. I'm not, however, using any of these photographs in this instance to claim that Earth is flat. You, in response to my asking a question about proof of sphericity, have said you have got photos. And then in defence of that said I haven't. No, I have. I don't need to defend that shit. I'm not making a claim here while you talk through me. You are. Now, your photos, which you haven't presented, could be debunked if you'd presented them, even though you haven't, and have demanded that I do it for you, or consensus believes some shite. Yeah, those are both fallacies. So you haven't proven your point. But on 3 occasions I've pointed out how we've debunked it. I've then separated it into 3 different debunkings, 2 of which were your fallacy and how it worked. Now, this is the 4th time I've done it. And I'm asking politely, with an exasperation for obvious reasons, it's 4 times, that you don't now appeal to photos you haven't given me. And secondarily, don't say I haven't got them because you've been proven outright to not give us a damn thing. Okay?
Don't make him cry, Nathan.
It's me getting exasperated. This dick just turns around, add total wrecking of his nonsense, and say, well, you haven't got that. What, the thing we've just proven you haven't given us? What, you're going to turn around when it's on fucking screen and say, I haven't got it? What the hell? This guy's a moron. He's thick.
He's not worth all the stress.
So you're
though.
saying the fact, eh?
He starts his sentence
So
with,
you're saying the photos that you've
Can I ask
posted
you a
aren't
question,
your
Nathan?
proof of your flat Earth?
So it immediately goes to something that I've not yet made a claim about. We're still discussing you and your photographs. He's ignored that completely and done precisely what I listed he did as a secondary request, that you don't now discuss something I am not claiming. You're claiming photographs. Me making no claimo. Comprende?
So
No claim being made.
What's the point of your post then?
You're
What's the point of your photographs
being
then? If you-
challenged. What is it? Is it starting to sink in, mate? Is that why you're talking through me? Is it starting to? Is the penny dropped? That you're the dumb fuck who said, yeah, curvature, yeah, photos, yeah, positive claim I'm making. But my defence to the fact that I haven't given anything is that you haven't given anything. Do you realise how shite that is? Go on, tell
And
me
I'm
I
not
haven't
trying
given
to
you what
talk
you
through
want.
you, just
Go
it's
on.
hard to get a word in with you, mate. Like you're a mic hog. I understand it's your show, yeah, but like, I'm not trying to talk through you. I'm trying to listen to you.
Can I ask him a question, Nathan?
No.
No, it's his show. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, photos or do not have photos.
Hello. He's just complained and bleated that he's not getting an opportunity to speak, that it's difficult to talk, that I'm a mic hog. So we're going to get uninterrupted air with this dick telling us all about his acknowledgement about the photos he hasn't given us, the fallacies he's used, the fact that it's been pointed out 4 times, the fact that when it's pointed out, he tells me I haven't got photos. That's his defence. But apparently it's because I'm a mic hog. So everyone else can shut up. He can get unimpeded time to either acknowledge that or do what he's done twice already, which is say I haven't given him what he wants when he's made a positive claim he hasn't backed. So go ahead.
Don't know what you want, mate. I really don't. I told you I didn't have evidence, and you're still carrying on.
No, you said you got photos. You've appealed to them.
And then when I asked if you had evidence, then you said you
there it
told
is.
on about
There it
pictures,
is.
and you're saying
So
that
I
you're not
haven't got
making that
evidence.
claim.
Yeah, when I
Right,
get
you're
to
making
pointing
no
it out
sense,
again,
mate.
this dumb
Really
shit
not.
doesn't shut up. No, you claimed you got photos, mate. What the hell are you babbling about? It's now, let's slow it right down, the 5th time I have explained that you A, haven't presented any photographs, B, have reversed the burden of proof and told me to get them, and C, appealed to consensus about the photographs you haven't provided that you continually, 5 occasions, have appealed to regardless of any defence. And when that's pointed out, you tell me I haven't given you photos. So, fuckwit, you have made a claim. You claimed the photos you keep appealing to.
Well, I'm not the only one that's in sole possession of these photos. Yeah, you've got access
What
to the internet, don't you?
photos? Are you so stupid? What photos? The ones you say I haven't got on screen, or the ones you haven't given us? Are you dumb? Are you
The
really
ones on the
this stupid?
Google server, mate. Like they're there for everyone to be able to search.
So we are literally going to go round and round in circles with him appealing to consensus, Maybe you'd like to reverse the burden of proof again and tell me to get them. Or appeal to consensus again. Or revert back to telling me I haven't got photos. You're dumb as shit. You're a stuck record. Have you only got the arguments I've debunked 6 times to repeat continually? Is that what you do, stuck record parrot? You've got no other words of comprehension. Don't you understand what's happening here? Clearly not. Maybe repeat the same. Maybe repeat that I haven't got you the photos, everyone else knows they're out there, or that I haven't given you photos.
Mate, the ad homs aren't going to work, mate.
That's not an ad hoc. There literally wasn't even an insult in there. I didn't call you a complete moron. I pointed out that you reversed the burden of proof and got me to get them, or you're appealing to consensus, or you're saying I haven't given you the flat earth proof photos you asked for. So we've done that 7 times, and you're telling me I'm an ad hom. What's an ad hom? What's an ad hom?
Well, you call me a parrot, so that's like...
Yeah, because you're repeating things.
What's that got to do with my argument?
It's an analogy. Parrots repeat things over and over again. It's an analogy, not an ad hom. You keep repeating things. 8 times. You have used burden of proof reversal fallacy, appealed to consensus, and then moved off topic to something apparently I'm making a claim about. You've done it about 8 times. This is the best you've got. You are cognitively inferior. You don't know how to process what's happening. So you're stuck in this same analogy, record groove, that goes round and round and round with you using the same argument and me smashing it 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 times. Some of the fundies, I think it was Conspiracy Cats, I had him whooped around with the same argument more than 100 times. Now you're on 8 times. That's because you're merely cognitively challenged. Some of you fundies are so indoctrinated that your argument that's been debunked, in this case, photos that don't exist that you haven't presented, and an appeal to consensus, or an appeal for me to get them for you, or, when that's pointed out, telling me I haven't got flat earth photos, is going to be an argument that you will never move away from, because you are cognitively incapable. Thick! That's not an ad hom. I've detailed why you're thick. Stupid. So I'm not ad homing you. I'm not avoiding your coherent argument you've presented and just calling you stupid. That would be what Rumpus does. Ignore all arguments and say we're stupid and don't understand. I'm detailing why you're stupid, how you're cognitively repressed. Not an ad hom, mate. Any response to that? You incorrectly identified a fallacy. Unlike me, who's identified all of yours aptly, and you've ignored all of the rebuttals.
I was talking about when you call me a parrot. That was the only ad hom.
Just explain this for the love of God. It is an analogy because on 8 occasions I've explained the flaws and fallacy and you've repeated it. Now, by analogy, that's what parrots do. It's not an ad hom. An ad hom is me ignoring a coherent argument you presented to me and simply calling you stupid.
Do you know what an analogy is?
This guy's so stupid. I'm done with him. We're not even through housekeeping.
Do you know what an analogy is?
Of course I do, mate. Come on.
So explain it to me. What is an analogy?
Well, he was saying that like I'm like a parrot, like I repeat things like a parrot. Like a parrot.
Exactly. So
but not all parrots repeat things.
He didn't call you
right?
literally a parrot. That could be considered an ad hom if you, for some reason...
The analogy is that you're repeating things without understanding them. You keep doing it over and over.
That's not what an analogy is.
How do you think you're doing, globosexual? Do you think you're doing well here? Just out of interest.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you'll retain your fundamentalist sphere belief regardless of what happens. I understand that. It's called zealotry.
Well,
you could also try to just retract
without really knowing me. I'm also here to possibly learn. You don't know that.
Oh God! Look, you made this claim about photographs. You could just say, look, I haven't presented these photographs. I'll retract the statement because I don't have them. That would fix a lot. How about that?
I suppose I could say that. I don't personally have him. I didn't take him. But I mean, yeah, everyone can Google him.
Jesus H. Christ.
I mean, let's not play
That's
stupid.
number 2 on my list, mate. That's the 9th time you're doing what's called an appeal to consensus. How slow have I got to say this?
Listen,
I'm at 9 times telling him. 9 times! Maybe if I call him a parrot, he'll tell me I'm ad homing him.
Listen, I'm losing brain cells with this guy, Nathan. Can we move on?
Is this guy's a general representative of the globe religion?
I
This
don't
is
know,
a general
but he's
dude.
he backed down on almost everything. He even pretty much said, okay, I don't have any photographs. He doesn't have any claim. He doesn't have anything. So at this point, admittedly so, which is more than I can say for some other Globers that will never admit anything, no matter how blatantly incorrect what they said is. So yeah, we should move on, in my opinion.
Fine.
I've been asking you guys to move on, but Nathan seems to just want to dwell on this.
Yeah, because I asked you why you have a sphere belief, and your answer to me was because of the photos.
And I told you why.
The photos.
Yeah, if that's not satisfactory for you, then move on. I told you it wasn't scientific evidence.
I didn't ask
you
for
just want to
scientific...
dwell on it because you want to make a big fuss about
Sorry,
it.
I didn't ask for... Why is he strawmanning me? No, I didn't ask for scientific... When I asked the question, I even qualified whether or not it needed dumbing down for you. Any signs of Earth curvature? You really need me to dumb this down? That's what I asked you. Now you're inserting scientific evidence. What the hell? Have you got some sort of... Are you hallucinating? It's not what I asked you for. Have you got a hearing problem? It's not what I asked you for. Have you got a comprehension problem? It's not what I asked you for. I even qualified the question after you seemingly didn't understand it. Well, your seeming misunderstanding and my qualification has led to you now inserting this word. Are you hallucinating?
So we're going to continue to dwell, are we? Guys, let's move on, yeah? Like you said,
excuse me, I run the show. I will keep you here as long as I choose. You're my toy. You know, like a little puppy that I'm moving around and training. That's you. My toy.
I'm glad I'm entertaining for you.
You are extremely entertaining. But don't tell me when we move away, Tim Osman. Eat your heart out.
Well, it's just a suggestion. Your mate Ranty there was going on
Thanks
about
for your suggestion.
He's losing brain cells. We don't want
back to your fundamentalist
have
belief.
That many.
Yeah. Thanks for your suggestions on how to produce my show. Back to your fundamentalist religious belief in sphere. Beyond the photographs that after 10 occasions pointing out your fallacious reasoning, is that the only thing you can appeal to? A consensus opinion about photographs you haven't presented? Is that it?
I mean, you don't really need more than that. I mean, it's black and white, you know. I mean, I don't want to dwell on this. I mean,
that's it. So my question isn't getting answered. Is that it then? So that's enough for you then. You're not. What more do you need?
I'm not. That is enough. Are you satisfied,
mate? The problem is you have comprehension skills. So I'm qualifying something. Not what more do you need, which is how you phrased it. No, what more do you, as in I'd like to hear what I, in the third person, in this instance, you, accept. Is there anything else you, as an individual, don't throw it out to consensus again, accept beyond that? Is that it? That's enough for you? The consensus opinion about photos we're yet to see, or study, or debunk, let's be honest.
That is enough. That is enough for me.
Oh, wow. Wow. So the same standard as people believing Narnia is real then? That's as good as it gets for you. Okay. Zealotry runs thin in your brain. That's amazing. How sad. That's all you need. Some people need very little brainwashing. No wonder everyone's been tricked. The level of stupidity and cognitive processing is in most cases the same as this guy's. Very poor. That's enough for me. Good for you, you deep skeptic, you.
That's the perfect example, Nathan, of why they believe that what they believe.
Yeah, that's
They
good
believe
enough.
because they want to believe.
Everyone else thinks it, and it's good enough for me. That's what he said. Amazing.
Not really. You can see in this conversation that he cannot grasp what's going on. He doesn't understand.
But he does feel enough beef with it to not step away. Because he already admitted he had no arguments, pretty much. He was honest enough to admit all that, but then after that, he wouldn't just step away. He still had some beef with us and his straw man view on our model, which we don't lay a claim to. So, yeah, is what it is.
He doesn't own his arguments. It's all consensus driven. So when pushed to prove something, he wants to move on because he hasn't put the time in.
Still got a few housekeeping questions. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon for all the fundamentalists who believes the sky is a vacuum?
No way. Yeah.
No? Anybody?
All the gaseous weight they love to claim is not going to prevent all it from pushing off into the presumed to be there outer space vacuum.
Yeah, the gas
Well,
would fill the space.
the vacuum is no longer necessarily in outer space now, because people like Zanuck will say just the differential in pressure requires a vacuum. So I was like, oh, so we just live in a vacuum now, just because there's differentials in pressure.
Is that what's going on now? Wow.
Yeah.
Redefining what a
This was
vacuum is.
yesterday. Yep. So we just live in a vacuum. That proves vacuum. Don't worry about the air. It's just a pressure differential, so that you can count that as a vacuum.
Right. I don't think that gas pressure argument holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, it does. Metaphorical weight meaning gravitas. No? That got even less of a laugh, clearly.
Boom, boom.
This could be a problem for anybody who believes that there's photographs being taken from this region that can't possibly exist, called outer space. Hey, there's nobody here that believes in photos taken from a region that doesn't exist.
Who believes that?
No, I don't. I don't believe there's photos taken from a place that doesn't exist. That would be silly.
Do I believe that? I don't
know.
believe that.
Don't know.
I said
Don't know
they
what
were
you
just
believe.
taken from high altitude.
What do they show?
Come again, you sort of cut out.
What do they show? Do they show us gas pressure without a container? Because the sky is asserted to be a vacuum in the heliocentric sphere world religion.
Yeah, some assert that, some don't.
It's part of the religion. It's not that some assert it again. Why is it that you're immediately going to consensus opinion when it's laid down in stone?
I mean, I don't know what's up there. I don't know if they'd really tell me the truth about that they're in space, whatever that is. That to me, like, a lot of the footage just seems like there's a lot of mistakes in it. But I mean, hey,
who cares? The footage has come from a place that doesn't exist. A place that is claimed to be a vacuum. Whether or not people understand or think it is or isn't is irrelevant of their model, which claims the sky is a vacuum. Doesn't matter if you understand it, appreciate it, disagree with it. That's what it is in that model. If you're on a sphere flying through a vacuum, you're on a sphere flying through a vacuum. You don't have to like it, and it's total bollocks. Because the gas we breathe would fill that vacuum pretty rapidly. Called entropy.
so if I believe the Earth is a sphere, then by default I need to believe in space.
It's part of the heliocentric sphere religion. Part of the rhetoric. Doesn't matter if you accept it or not. It's part of the rhetoric.
Do I have to agree with all of it, though?
Is
All
that
of the
even a
rhetoric?
real
Good question. Hold on, Chocolate. Good question. Do you have to agree with the priests? Well, no. I know the sky is not a vacuum. The gas we're breathing would fill the space. I don't agree with them. Do you agree with them when they tell you the sky's a vacuum, Mr. Sphere Believer?
I mean, I don't think they can prove it. So I don't sort of go for that, to be honest.
Okay, that's
That's
fair
why I
enough.
said
Bit of a
those
problem.
photos, I'm not saying they're taken from a space or whatever. They're just like high altitude. I mean,
what the ones they say come from space?
to-
So we're back onto these
Not
photos. So you
I'm not
accept...
saying they're from space, mate. Like,
No,
like I said,
you're
I'm
not saying anything. You've not given us Jack. We've covered that. Oh my God, this is like
He's just
pulling teeth.
admitted that he recognizes that those photos are faked, pretty much.
No, that's where I was trying to lead him. He's saying, no, I just decide that even though the place they're claimed by the person who's given me the photos isn't real, I'm going to decide that's just high altitude so that I can continue with my zealotry and accept the photos anyway. No, they're claimed to come from space, mate. Somewhere that's not real. Now, you can accept that space isn't real, but then still accept the photos that claim to be come from that place? Well, that makes no sense. Your religion doesn't seem to make a lot of sense at all.
I think he pretty much
But
tried
they're
to.
not taking photos of space, are they? They're taking photos of. They're not taking photos of the Narnia or whatever you're on about. They're taking photos of.
Globo. When you see
I
a
get what you're
picture
saying.
of
They're taking them from
Globo.
Narnia, but they're looking towards the Earth. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I see. So
they're not taking photos of Narnia.
So, okay. So, if I go to Narnia to take pictures of Earth, the pictures I take from Narnia are real because the place I'm taking them from is not real. Is that what you're saying? Surely.
No, what I'm saying is that you can say you're taking the photos from Narnia and just be lying about that you're in Narnia because you can't be there.
Yeah, you can say you're taking the pictures from space, but not actually being a fake place at all. Ergo, the pictures.
Well, just like you can say you're taking the pictures.
Why are you interrupting me, mate? Is it because you can hear a devastating point being made? Is that your cue to talk
No,
all
sorry, I didn't know you were
over me?
talking.
Yeah. So if the
No,
place.
my apologies. Go ahead.
Why are you still talking through me?
I'm on mute.
If the place the pictures are claimed to have come from is not real, then the pictures are not real. You can't take pictures from a place that isn't real. Don't you get it? Hello? Nobody's taking pictures from Narnia. Narnia's not real. Equally, somewhere that violates natural law, a sky vacuum, is equally somewhere that you can't take pictures from because it doesn't exist.
Look, I know it doesn't exist, mate. I'm not saying that.
So all the pictures that they present from that place that they've claimed are of pictures of a sphere Earth are all bunk.
It's just because they're saying that they're in space doesn't necessarily mean they're.
No, they aren't. That's a fake place.
Well,
if I say I've got a picture of Aslan and it's from Narnia, you can automatically assume that that's fake. Picture of Aslan. Because Narnia ain't real. Equally, I can discuss how the lamp works when you go through the wardrobe, or the mechanics of the wardrobe, and claim to have a picture of the lamp and the wardrobe from Narnia. But I haven't, mate, because Narnia's not real. And likewise, space ain't real. And any pictures that are claimed to have come from there are automatically fake, including, but not limited to, all pictures of Earth as a sphere.
If you say so, Nathan.
Not if I say so. If I say I've got pictures of Aslan from Narnia, you can automatically discount that that's true because Narnia is not a place I can go. If I can't go to space, I can't take pictures from there.
But
Neither can
We're
they.
not talking about pictures of Aslan. We're talking about pictures of the Earth.
Yeah, from a place that isn't real. From a vantage point no
Earth
one
isn't
can
a
get.
place- So the Earth is a place that isn't real.
Yeah, the pictures of Earth from space.
Yeah, but you're not getting it. I'm not saying that space is real. I'm saying
It's going back
they're
to the
saying
word
they're taking
analogy that we spoke about before, right? It's an analogy. How Narnia doesn't exist. Well, the vacuum that you're taught about does not exist either. That's why it's analogous.
Yeah, I get that. I get
Right.
that, Mr. Chocolate. I get it.
Did you
So
just
then
say?
what's the problem?
I'm not taking photos of Narnia, right?
No,
I'm
because it
taking
doesn't exist.
photos
He doesn't
from a place.
understand
At
what-
this
he
point, I
said he
think he's
understood.
just trolling. At
He
this
doesn't
point, I
understand
think
an
he's just
analogy.
trolling, though.
It's not trolling. He
I'm not
doesn't
trolling,
understand an
mate.
analogy.
I'm just
He's just been
tired,
asked, do
yeah?
you understand an
You
analogy?
cannot be this.
He didn't understand what an
It's
analogy
almost
was.
1 a.m.
Oh,
Hey?
here we go.
It's time for your bed then. You better
Go
go
to
to
bed
bed,
then.
mate, and put your head down.
No,
Just before
well, that's what I
just
kept
before
saying.
he
You guys
goes,
carry
I've
on to the
been
next
patient.
question. Stop
Yeah,
dwelling.
I have something based on what you said, if I may. You said you do not necessarily believe that the pictures of Earth are from space. You said it could be high altitude, right? You said that.
I did.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When these high
may.
altitude pictures are taken using a fisheye lens versus ones that don't use a fisheye lens, what do you see?
I haven't. I don't know. I don't know whether they've used the fisheye lens or not. I mean, the ones without it, obviously, you don't see a curve. But I mean, like, who's to say? Who's
Well,
to?
when the
You can't
weather
really verify any of the.
when the weather balloons
Hey?
go up, hang on. Very simple. Go
Yeah,
to
but I
your
mean,
consensus page, Google, and when you see the weather balloons go up to 120,000 feet and the Earth is flat as a pancake, and then you see Felix Baumgartner go up and you match the height at each level of the weather balloon and the Felix Baumgartner footage, one's got a fisheye lens and one doesn't.
Okay, I'll take that little gap to shout out Cynical Skeptic. So he says, I will be posting to my channel in a few days the most devastating proof NASA faked the moon landings. That's the fact that they can't travel through a fake medium. But there we go. Maybe you've got that as your fake proof. Not fake proof, your proof of faking. Thank you very much for the super chat, Cynical Skeptic. So there's 3 dots next to Cynical Skeptic. Next time he makes a chat message, click those 3 dots, go to channel, subscribe today.
Yeah, I just want to also say that Cynical Skeptic was the guy that sent me a bunch of hard drives, so I was able to back up all my data that I had.
Oh, wow.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Cynical Skeptic. It cost him a lot of money to send it over from America, and he sent a bunch of hard drives, like I say. So excellent guy.
Thank you very much, Cynical Skeptic. Really, really appreciate your support. But yeah, click those 3 dots next to his name, hover over Cynical Skeptic, go to his channel, subscribe. He's going to release a video in the next few days.
I also want to shout out Brian's Logic, who will be doing a presentation on my show tonight.
What time?
Thanks, Randy.
10:30 tonight. So he's going to be doing I've got it up and ready to go.
So be here or be sphere on the Ranty Flat Earth YouTube channel, where he will have Brian's Logic at 10:30 p.m. UK time, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard. I might be off by now, hopefully not. But be here or be sphere, Ranty Flat Earth channel, 10:30 UK time tonight.
The title of the show is Angular Size Change, Occultation, and the Diffraction Limit.
It's an occultation. I meant to put in visual occultation. Basically, it's kind of an apt time for it, I think, because I know I have it made with several months. it's an apt time for it because there seems to be in the debates at the moment on other channels and on this one, there seems to be a lot of talk about what we can see and curvature and refraction and all this other stuff. So probably a good time for it.
Excellent. I look forward to watching it.
Thank you.
More housekeeping?
I suppose. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth as a helicopter goes over me?
Was it spinning fast now? Did it?
Didn't seem to exhibit any deviation, apparent or otherwise. Molten iron core? Anybody?
No. There's just diagrams of it, Nathan.
But did we cover scientific evidence of gravity? I don't think we did yet. Scientific evidence of gravity? Anybody?
No.
I had a pilot try and tell me about gravity yesterday, right? But he couldn't define weight. Oh.
Okay.
That was the end of that. He begged the question a few times, and then he disappeared.
Well, that's
how
probably
could
the best.
How could the pilot not know how to define weight when he flies airplanes that cannot exceed a certain weight?
Yeah, well, he first I got him to admit there was no drop. Then he tried to beg the question. I tried to claim gravity and the curved atmosphere. Then when I asked him to, back up those claims, he started begging the question, and then he started telling me about lift and drag and weight. And I asked, he couldn't define weight. I defined weight for him, and he kept bringing up weight. And I told him, "There's no point." I said, "Stop with weight." I just defined weight for you. So he couldn't do anything. He was just. He said, "You must be on drugs, and you're really stupid. You're an idiot." Don't use my nonsense. But he couldn't go anywhere, and he's got a channel with 84,000 subscribers, and he even has books out. So he's popular in some way.
Hang on, hey Brian, back to your conversation with him. He has to define weight in the same way his manual for the different types of aircraft he flies have weight charts that say you cannot exceed this much weight. So he must define weight in that manner, right?
Yeah, he was attributing all weight to gravity. It was hard to get. It wasn't really coherent what he was trying to do. But basically, he was trying to prove gravity by talking about lift and weight and drag, and that was basically it. He was trying to prove gravity by how a plane flies, and I went through talking with him about the medium it's in and all the rest of it. But he just couldn't. He couldn't define, when it came down to weight. He was trying to use the word weight as proof of gravity, and I showed him how weight had nothing to do with gravity, got to do with density. And he couldn't, and I told him, I ended up telling him how the plane flew. It's ridiculous. This guy's booked it. It's stupid, isn't it?
No, you were the co-pilot he needed when he wrote those books.
I haven't looked in at his channel, so what he might have done, I didn't look, what he might have done is either hid my comment or he might have made a comment without pressing the reply. I've caught a lot of people do that, where you have an to and fro with someone, it's not going well for them, and so they'll comment underneath, but they won't press reply. So anyone reading it, it looks like they got the last comment in and you ran off. But that, they do that kind of stuff. So, but it was desperate. It was just like, oh, you're on drugs and this, that, and everything. It's just, you're stupid. And he told me you need to get a physics book and an English book and all this kind of nonsense.
He dismissed your argument like excess baggage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
good
crazy.
One, Brian.
Yeah. But someone's going to read it. If he didn't hide it, someone's going to read it. And it doesn't look good for him. Being a pilot, it doesn't look good for him because he dismissed someone originally who asked him a question. How come you don't fly with the nose down if you're going over a curve? Now I know there's a bit of an argument there because that doesn't necessarily mean drop. There's other ways to bring drop into it, but he just said we fly with respect, not with respect to the ground, but with respect of air pressure. And he didn't give any more than that, and he kind of fobbed off the person as if the person was just someone who didn't understand, didn't know. So that's what I originally pulled him on. I said, altimeters, I said, don't account for drop. No, and then he started arguing with me. But I posted it yesterday in Master B, but I posted it yesterday in Master B. So you'll see it's the last post I made in Master B. But if anyone wants to look at it, they can look at it. But he's an idiot. Like it's hard listening to his video, like, because it's the usual generic, like, flat earthers are stupid and all the rest of it, you know. But he didn't prove he was smart, to put it that way.
Fair enough. Do a quick plug and a shout out. So, burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. Thank you very much for joining as the latest Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member as a lion. So periodically I will shout out those of you who've joined at lion, hyena, unicorn or Yoda level, and maybe a couple of the penguins. So those are the various different levels that you can join. If you want to join as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, then there is a join button. I believe it's now on Android devices and PCs. So there's a little blue join button. If not, there's a link in the info box on both the secondary channel info box and on the main channel. So there's just a channel membership link that you can go to if you can't find it potentially on an iPhone. But there we go. So be sure to smash that join button if you do want to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Another shout out to Burn Fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. This is also one of my Patreons, so thank you very much indeed for joining as a lion once more. Burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth.
Be quite interested to do a channel membership only day where only the channel members can actually comment in the side chat. That'd be quite fun.
That will happen with time, I'm certain of it. It might be the case that I have to press the magic button. I've not even programmed it in yet because I just don't think it's necessary, but I'm glad I've got the facility and don't need it, as opposed to need the facility and haven't got it and end up doing what a lot of other channels have to do, which is banning everybody. And obviously I don't want to do that on this platform. I'd much rather have, a position where the chat's so toxic that I go, right, this is the point that you should just ban everyone, but no, I can just turn them all off. And that will hopefully give everyone enough time to cool down without banning anybody. It's a very effective tool. I've seen it being used. It's excellent. It really is excellent. Obviously, it benefits me financially. It's support for me. I need that. So, yeah, obviously, I'm grateful for that too. But, yeah, I'm just pleased that, like I say, once maybe every couple of weeks or maybe once a week, I'll do a full shout out of... I won't be able to shout out all the penguins. They'll just end up being, a 20-minute shout out session. So, I'll set up the membership so you can join at the absolute cheapest level as possible to be a channel member. But that just means there's going to be lots of them, which is great, but just more than can be shouted out. And what I think I did last Friday was picked a couple of random penguins and just shouted them out because they're bigger channels, or more members at least, more subscribers rather. So yeah, I'll do that again. I'll just shout out a couple of random penguins and I'll do a big shout out for all the latest channel members.
Members is a good idea because when people hear members, they want to become part of it. You know, that kind of way. People want that. It's like, I want to be a member. That people want to be a member of a club. You know, that kind of way. They like that idea. So I think it's going to be a good idea going forward. It's going to help you and it's going to help the channel. Definitely. People want to be members, don't they? They want to have that status. Even if obviously they're helping out the channel, they want to be members. It's just a natural thing. You want to be part of that group. You don't want to be an outsider.
Yeah, outsiders. Join today. No, you don't really lose a great deal if you're not a member. You just in that situation where the chat's getting toxic, you might get turned off, and that might annoy you. But ultimately, you can still come back when it's turned back on again. Yeah, there's going to be members only videos. There's already a couple up. But that's going to be for the mega fans of me as an individual, as opposed to people that like the Flat Earth debate and want to become a member of that group as a channel member. So yeah, there is going to be that small group of people that literally want to see me doing a special just for them, and they'll get that too. With time, I'll put more and more members only videos up. But that wasn't the main reason for me doing it. I do have that facility also through Patreon, and I say the same as I did then, which is you're probably not going to get a great deal of content out of it. I try and just publish it all to YouTube for everyone. But by the same token, I still want support, and I still feel that there is a benefit to being able to interact with certain content that others can't, and having certain benefits that others don't get at a fee. Now, that said, I've made the fee as cheap as it can possibly be, and pretty much given all of those functionalities to the cheapest option. So it's like if you do join, you can still enjoy members only chat and all that stuff, because that's the prevailing reason for doing it. So I don't want to alienate people by saying, no, it's $10 to join minimum. It's like, well, yeah, that might be the mercenary way of doing it, but it certainly wasn't what I was hoping to achieve out of having a members only facility in the chat room. But I'm chuffed that I have. Yeah, hey, I can't express how pleased I am, actually. I'm absolutely made up.
Well, even if 1/3 of the subscribers become members, that's going to become is it unicorns? Whatever is the lowest one. I mean, that's going to be a big benefit.
Yeah, penguin. So lowest is penguin, then it's hyena, lion, unicorn, Yoda.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Cool. Probably a nice note to actually round out the live show. So once again, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did smash the join button or super chat button, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. If you are watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. But unfortunately, as I say, if you're watching you live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. Another massive thank you to all of today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
That guy.
I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, what was the? I didn't want to ask on the live show. What was the laughter about? Because I knew it would segue away from what we were talking about.
I think it was just.
What do you mean? What was the laughter about? I could just laughing about the laughter about.
Yeah, I mean, I laughed at the laughter. It was contagious. That I mentioned because I was laughing and I didn't know why.
I think we should.
One day, Ranty, I'm gonna let you say what you're gonna say, but one day we're just gonna, like, in the future, Lord willing, we're gonna be sitting down. We're gonna cue this show up on this date by accident, maybe, and we're gonna have a laugh.
I honestly think we should do a full housekeeping session where everyone on the panel just laughs at the questions. Don't have to answer anything. Any sign of Earth curvature, and just all of us laugh our heads off. Any sign of a molten iron core.
It's like that. It's like that YouTube video where I think it's our good friend John Thor who does videos. He shows that Spanish talk show host with the bad teeth laughing. Oh, it's so funny.
Hey, you know what, guys?
That's what you reminded me of when you were laughing. That's what made me laugh.
We should do it now. We should do it now as a group. We should do it now. Nathan should ask the questions. We should do it now. It could be a 5-minute. It could be a 5-minute outtake.
This might surprise you. So that little piece, before you all cackle with laughter for 5 minutes straight, that particular piece with that dude laughing with no teeth in Spanish, that was it's 4 or 5 years ago. So there was a chap called Tiger Dan on the scene, and John LeBon took the subtitles for that and made it about the Cavendish experiment. So him going, balls in a shed, ha ha ha, have the whole weight of Earth based on balls in a shed, ha ha ha. That. So John LeBon made a video about about the nonsense of the Cavendish experiment, and that was taken by Tiger Dan and republished, which massively, well, not massively, but certainly helped build John LeBon's channel that got taken down relatively recently in the last 6 months or so. So, hello, go on. Discord, whoever that is. No? Just making a load of mic noise. Okay. So it just seems interesting. We debated with John LeBon here recently, and yet most people who are even slightly newer to the scene than some of the people on the panel now won't have had any awareness whatsoever of what John LeBon has done in the past in terms of this very subject. So Cavendish and the debunkings thereof was something that we've gone into much further detail than John LeBon did, but he recognised much earlier than most that the nonsensical non-experiment that is Cavendish is the basis of the weight of Earth and Mars and all the rest of it. And he put that up, like I say, cut with that video of the guy laughing, only to be mirrored by Tiger Dan about 5 years ago. Just so you know.
Is that still up?
I think Tiger Dan's channel's still up with the re-up of John Le Bon's original video.
All right, I'll go look for it.
If you typed in JLB Tiger Dan, it probably takes that very video if you did a search on YouTube.
Got it.
Yeah, just interesting.
Yeah, the way Chocolate said the guy was, I was waiting for a really good debate, and then the guy came in like he was detoxing.
Yeah. People have a lot of bravado.
Hey, don't blame me, man. I went into the chat over there and they were like, "Oh, this guy's been talking about Nathan. He's getting ready to go over there with you guys." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And he started talking a little bit of shit. I'm like, all right, not a problem. So I was expecting something. I didn't know there was going to be just nothing. Sorry. Not my fault.
It reminds me, there's a guy online who was talking smack and all that kind of about Deontay Wilder. He was going to bait him up and all the rest of it. And so he was invited to his gym, and he turned up in the gym, and Deontay Wilder bet him out the door. Did any of you see that?
Nathan?
No, I don't think so.
Nathan, could you leave and come back in Discord?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think that'd be a pretty cool video, guys, though, if we just did the housekeeping questions and pissed ourselves.
We would have
6, 7 different accents. So that was what was entertaining us. The fact that his different accents had different housekeeping questions.
But what we'd need to do, we would need to sort of like build up the laughter. So we'd have to do little sniggers at the first question, then a little bit more, then get a little bit more. And by the time we get to question 7, we're absolutely howling.
and then Nathan records it, and whenever he needs a laugh track, he just plays it.
Or you could just do it as a standalone video. You could just do it as a housekeeping questions. And then have a... Yeah. Well, I think it'd work.
Maybe.
No, I think it's good because they
much
mock
rather-
us all the time, but they don't ever bring the evidence. We can bring the fact that they have lack of evidence to prove everything, and we can just laugh at it.
We keep saying we're going to do standalone videos for each housekeeping question. We still haven't done it.
I know. We need to, though.
We need to do a standalone video for all 7 with us all just laughing.
Not all 7, just one at a time.
That'll be easy.
Concisely go through each point.
Yeah, but that would be it. That would be the conciseness of it.
What about every Friday
guys.
show or something like that, Nathan?
Yeah, I've tried that. If you try and incorporate one housekeeping question into a show, you just end up just talking about one housekeeping question with a fundy arguing through it. So it needs to be a separate standalone show without a public panel where we just go through the whys and wherefores of each point.
Yeah,
10 minutes.
exactly.
10 minutes per question.
Hey guys, Zanuck the other day said surveyors proved the Earth is flat by stating that if in the surveyor's manual it says if the Earth is flat, that makes a statement. Presumably that's flat. Zanuck was talking.
I don't know where you would get that, because if they take a level and they put it up to the horizon, they use a plumb line. This is the definition of a right angle. There's no curvature there at all.
Yeah, I know exactly. But they say it's funny, Zanuck and I think Danny, the flat boy, whatever, he was saying that in the survey it says if the Earth is flat, then level is curve. And I'm like, but it says
They're using
Wow.
the arguments are always based on if it's a globe, then
Level is curved. That's a good. I would laugh for an hour on level is curve.
That's what Zanuck and Danny Flatboy were talking about. How level is curved.
I could
Because they
go.
presume.
I could go off my farm, go to the city, and have a microphone and ask normal people, "Is level curve?" and they will laugh at me for 2 days.
He says he has a $30,000 equipment that says.
Well, Danny T thinks that planes take off backwards. So
Yeah, and it's also some software computer thing that automatically creates the
So he
curve.
has a $30,000 app then.
A
Yeah, basically a
$40,000.
$30,000 app that.
Oh gosh, too funny.
Does Zanuck ever join the after show while it's recording, or does he always come out?
I don't know what's going on with these Globers and these expensive pieces of equipment. Because Mr. 20,000 for my GPS and I got 30,000 for this crap. When Aristophanes apparently approved everything with a couple of sticks. What's going on, guys?
No, he begged the question as well. He assumed he was measuring a spherical surface.
Hey, chocolate. After they find out the Earth is flat, they'll be on eBay for $2.
Just go outside.
We were talking to him about scientific evidence or at least verification of some kind. And so we were like, okay, so if you only accept that standard of evidence, where's your rocket to have been there to take these photos for yourself, since you don't accept photos from other people?
The Earth is obviously and observably flat and stationary. Everyone knows that. They have to.
Anybody on
they
the
have to
globe
go.
side have rockets laying around?
Isn't it a bit of a contradiction, though, that when we ask if there is scientific evidence for this globe, right, we're told that science doesn't prove things, but yet somehow or another, science was able to create technology that got us to the moon. So, which is it?
Don't worry, the latest. Don't worry, the
Science
latest
doesn't
trend.
prove anything, but it disproves flat Earth somehow.
Right. Of course it does.
Trend is water, not water.
Well, when the best you have
right?
is
It's
the highest
amazing.
level of your science is a theory. That's the highest level of their science is theory. That's the highest level. They say there's nothing higher than that.
Yeah, but in science, to have a scientific theory, you have had to have gone through your hypothesis and identified the independent variable before you could present a scientific theory, which is different than just theory in the general sense, like I don't know theory.
Yeah, but a theory means that it's a theory. You haven't actually proven it, but isn't it? No matter what way you look at it, it's like if it's a theory, then it's still not proven.
No,
Well, this is what
That's not what a scientific theory is.
That's what Tenth just explained to you. It depends on the context of the conversation. If you're talking with a scientific context, then theory is way beyond proven. Theory is the combination of validated scientific experimentation. Now, the precursor to that is detailed earlier by 10th Man. So you've got to have hypotheses and presumed cause validated by experiment. And then when you have several of those, you can then go forth and form a scientific theory. So scientific theory is based on proof, causal relationships that have been validated. Colloquial theory isn't. It's just a general idea that's yet to be proven. Scientific theory isn't that. So it depends on the context of the conversation.
Yeah, I understand that part, but I know what Tent was saying. I understood what he was saying, and I knew about that before. But my point being is the use of the word theory. Like, who decided to use that? Well, no, who decided to use that word? That's allowing for a pseudoscience. The fact that they have if you look at the definition of theory,
Pseudoscientists.
it allows for pseudoscience using that. It's like because gravity is a scientific theory as well, but that's not a proven theory. It's not proven. You know
It's
what I
not a
mean?
scientific theory.
No, it's
Yeah,
not a
but
scientific
See,
theory.
but that's how
call
they
it
get you,
that.
though.
I get his
They'll
point.
tell you it's theory.
I get his point. Someone from the pews shouted it out while he was talking, and they were right. So who is doing this? Who is calling colloquial use of theory scientists? So they say they are. Well, they're not. They're pseudoscientists. But to lend a bit more credence to their pseudoscience assertions, they call them science with vernacular like theory. So yeah, you're right, Brian. They're utilising something that's got double meanings to confuse people into believing that when they say theory, they mean proven, when in fact they're using the colloquial use rather than the scientific use. But they'll happily label themselves a scientist when they tell you about their theory of gravity, which it isn't. It's not a scientific theory. Doesn't matter that a scientist said it. It's still a colloquial use. It's a Mystic Meg theory.
I do understand Brian's point, though. It sucks that, you know, the use of the word theory, I guess, is what throws everything off, you know, especially because we have a colloquial and then we have a scientific theory. Because I understand when people come into this and they're like, all right, scientific theory, that's just a theory. So it's weird to say scientific theory is based on experiment, because then you would think it wouldn't really be a theory, right? It's already been proven, so it should be a fact. But I think it's just a colloquial. Yeah, I know that's what you meant. I get it. It just sucks but that's why we have to go into the definitions and make sure we know what we're talking about. So when these guys start talking about, oh, it's just semantics. Nah, bro. Words have meaning.
Hey guys, I've got a just a
well, that is hold on. That is semantics, but you're describing the process of the Socratic method. So you come to understand between discussions of parties what the actual word you're using means, and then you reach agreement. That's why we get into fallacious logic and things of that nature also.
In the dictionary, it says under theory, it says something suggested as a reasonable explanation for facts, a condition, or an event, especially a systematic or scientific explanation. So I think when Nathan said it depends what context you use it in was the key.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, cool.
Hey guys, I had a question.
Hey.
What is the phenomenon called that when something either goes up or down, whether in the medium that's around, whether if it's lighter it goes up, if it's heavier it goes down. What is that phenomenon?
Relative density.
Hey,
it's a law, not a phenomenon.
It's not a law.
Well, I mean, like,
hold on.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey.
It's a secondary effect of entropy. It's not a law. But yes, relative density disequilibrium would explain something dropping if you forced it out of that position, like picking up a pen and dropping it. However, generally we experience equilibrium. Beyond that, we have relative density. So if something's being forced up like a helium balloon, it's because its relative density is lower than the air that it's in. Likewise, if you have something that drops because, I don't know, a piece of cliff loosens and everything cascades down, it's more dense than the medium it's in. And that's basically it. Relative density, correct.
Even though I think QE would describe it as law-like, because these things always happen, but he would call it a law. But yeah, these things are established. I mean,
but what would you say is cause of the direction it goes? Because that's the question that kind of stumps me oftentimes when people ask me that question is why which direction
We
it
just
goes.
explained to you relative density, how things like it's relative, the direction of things depending on the medium it's in.
No, he's asking what causes the bias as to why something goes up or goes down.
It comes down
And
to support.
unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get an answer to that.
Well, the best way I'd explain it to somebody is it comes down to support. It's like if anything that's lighter than air will rise through it, anything that's more dense than air will fall through it. So the reason it will fall through it is the air is not able to support it. That's about the size of it. Now, say for the design of an airplane or a helicopter or a glider, it has to be designed in a particular way to take advantage of the medium. But if it's not, if it's denser than air, then the air won't support it. And that's the thing. It's like that's why it'll keep falling until it reaches a density that will support it. You know, that's basically it. There's no structural support there for it. You know, but it doesn't matter with helium and hydrogen, methane and hot air. They'll all rise because they're less dense than air. But everything else will fall.
How long do you reckon your presentation will be on Ranties?
Sorry, Nathan?
How long do you reckon your presentation? I'm just thinking when I'm going to schedule this show.
Yeah, he said it's starting at 10:30. It's starting at 10:30. It'll be. The presentation. I'll try and keep it within an hour because I ended up the last one went way too long. I'll be kind of sticking to certain points of it, and I'll be skipping through some of it. So
that's cool.
I'll be saying an hour from 10:30 to 11:30. Now, as far as how long the show will go after that with questions, I don't know.
Fair enough. So if I set this show to midnight, that's probably a good hour and a half. It doesn't matter if they overlap slightly, but if Ranties, if you can give him a nod, say Nathan told me that the debate's going on after we finish. Any chance you can plug it?
Yeah, I'll say that to him before we start.
Thank you.
I'll say it to him before we start. Yeah.
I should just not care. I should just keep the slot I've got, but I'm good to Ranty like that. So I'll move the debate forward.
I had a question as well. Is what is the global's number one defense against density and buoyancy and the medium?
They just assume gravity.
But the thing is, the only relativity of gravity is to be upside down. But like, if I oftentimes tell them, if we're not upside down, then what's the need for gravity? And they oftentimes, what would they often respond?
They'll force something into disequilibrium and then measure the acceleration rate and quote it at you like it's a force.
If you research something
the
called...
reality is that acceleration is not actually always the same unless it's the
If you research something called specific gravity, it's like a lighter version of relative density equilibrium. It's in that vein, but it's not exactly the same. It's in the same vein, but it's not. Relative density equilibrium would be a more in-depth explanation. You know, so why would they come up with a thing called specific gravity if they already have a gravity? You know, it's nonsense.
They needed to tag that little mechanic with gravity. They needed that name in there.
No, Arwen's got it right here, because when they went from geocentric to heliocentric, you went from a flat Earth where gravity wasn't even an issue. And now, because it's a ball spinning in many directions after a sun that's going in a different direction, blah, 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 how do you keep the oceans on a ball? So they came up with gravity. Not proven, not real, not at all.
And remember, the etymology of gravity is weight. Things have weight.
You know,
that's it. They've added the acceleration afterwards.
So do you know?
It's funny how that's come back full circle to now. That's their argument. They don't want to say gravity. They want to say weight.
1 second.
Notice how that's come back full circle. I'm sorry.
It's alright. The guy that was asking the question, flatearthchannel.com, was trying to clarify something. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, that's okay. The question I was wondering is, what is the thing that Einstein claims that he did to prove gravity, which obviously he didn't. But what did he do exactly? Like, we keep saying like, oh, Einstein proved it, but when I ask what did he do, they don't know. So what is the thing that he
invented a medium based on mathematics?
He didn't do anything. It's all conceptual. Pseudo Ramonian force space. Length, breadth, depth, and time is just conjured in his mind. He didn't do anything.
But like, what is the experiment that people are just trying to suggest he did? Because I just asked them, and they're like, "Oh, Google it." I'm like, "Well, should you not know if you claim that you know what gravity is?" So I'm curious, what is this whole claim that people say, or is there no claim and he just everyone's saying he did? No one knows.
Flat Earth Channel, flatearthchannel.com. You need to get a new mic because you're chopping bad.
Yeah, but that's okay. I heard his question. He's saying, "Well, when I ask what experiment's been done, I don't seem to be getting anywhere." Well, what was done? Absolutely nothing. What experiment will validate it? There isn't one. And what did Einstein actually do to come up with it? He literally conjured it in his imagination. Hope that helps.
That's amazing. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna use that on someone next time they.
Yeah.
He just went with the pre-assumption that gravity was real. It was already a pre-assumption there. He just went with that and just changed it around to the fantasy he wanted.
Right.
Those who
If
cannot
anyone,
do,
sorry,
they-
go on.
I just said those.
And if anyone
those
else,
who can't do.
sorry.
Travis, go ahead.
I said those who can't do think.
Is it me or is it Discord? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're quite a lot
hear you
louder than
just
everyone
fine.
else. It could be that you've got that line turned down a bit too much. Anyway. So,
I think Arwen said it the best. It's just a math equation. It's not real.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, let me put this one to the flat earthers and see what they think. When they say an apple falls off a tree, they say a force pulls it down, right? Even though Einstein said it's not a force, they still go back to Newtonian principles and say that a force pulls it down. Why is it they don't say a force pulls the helium balloon up to the clouds? Maybe the clouds are attracting the helium balloon. If Earth's attracting the apple going down, there must be something attracting the helium balloon to go up. And if there is something attracting it, what is it? They don't say that, do they? I'm just wondering, why don't they say that? Obviously, the fact is there's not on there. But isn't that the equal and opposing argument for why a helium balloon would go up on their model? Rather than calculating for
They
the
actually
buoyancy factor, which is like the counter of gravity.
They're
actually
just
had that
using the
Hold on,
buoyancy
Brian.
thing.
Hold on, Brian.
Okay.
Go ahead. Was that
Hey,
flatearthchannel.com?
So I had that argument with Zanuck the other day, and his argument, he went to density and buoyancy as soon as about anything going up, but as soon as it's going down, it's like gravity. I'm like, well, why would you go back and forth between density and buoyancy and gravity when you don't need gravity? You can just use density and buoyancy. But he always goes back to density and buoyancy when it goes to helium balloons, but it's anything going down. That's what Zanuck says.
But buoyancy, they had to change things around for the medium of water, and then they kind of offshot that onto things like helium and hydrogen, because water is a different medium than air. Water is bonded molecules. Air is unbonded molecules. That may not be the specific way to say it, but it's understandable. So water behaves different than air. So they had to come up with buoyancy to explain water and why things do what they do on water. And then they just offshot that to, it's the buoyant force pushes up the helium. It's nonsense.
It is nonsense. But the point is that if there's something attracting the apple down and helium balloons go up, then there must be something attracting the helium balloons up, not a force pushing it as a counter to the force that's pulling the apple down. It should be an attractive force pulling the helium balloon up on their model, but obviously that makes no sense.
Yeah. Relative density and the disequilibrium of a helium balloon wanting to go up, or a mic that you've picked up wanting to go down. No necessity for gravity. There is no scientific validity to gravity. Gravity in the current rhetoric is merely the bending of a conceptual medium known as space-time, conjured up in the brain of Einstein.
Hey, do they know?
Keyword.
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay. Do they know when, at what point, like at what altitude does the nitrogen, oxygen, and what's the other one? Sorry.
Helium?
Oxygen, nitrogen, and the three that make up the air. I was just asking, at what point do they have it set to where, like, because if the helium would obviously rise higher than those three because helium is lighter than those three, but do they actually know when those three like stop? At what point does the helium meet something else, either at its like lightest point at the altitude? Like, does it meet more helium up there, or does it meet more? What is it?
Remember
Hydrogen.
that hydrogen is lighter than helium. And if you think of the density tower as the hydrogen at the top, whatever the top layer of the liquid is in the density tower, and then the helium would be the second one. And then you got a mixture of like the main gas is nitrogen, but oxygen, you got nitrogen, and you've got argon and a few other bits and pieces all underneath. What governs the layers is the volumes of the gas. And because nitrogen has got 70% of the atmosphere, that takes up most of it, but it's all mixed together. It's all mixed the sun mixes it all. And because of the creation of the gases at ground level under the what is it now? The geo, I can't remember what it's called. The geo something chemical process. The geo, what's it called?
Geo creeper.
No. What's the word, John? The geo something chemical site.
Geo
Let
creeping.
me Google it.
It's geo creeping. We have a Rhodes Scholar in chat that says density screams gravity.
Well, yeah.
Right. So when I describe the density of helium, that screams gravity, does it?
Yeah. Density is
There we go.
screaming gravity.
So the
Argyle in chat. I'll get it out. Argyle in chat. Density is screaming gravity. He knows the words, not their meanings. Yeah.
So
okay, now I get what you're saying, Warrior. You're saying on their model they would need an attractive force for helium. Is that what you're saying?
They would need an attractive force. Well, they need containment to have the pressure in the first place. You've got the biogeochemical cycles that is a collective name for about 10 processes. Hydrological cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the oxygen cycle, and a load of others. And these are all created at ground level, be it ground being sea or ground being land. They're all created at ground level. And that's where the density gradient is created. Now, on a flat Earth model that's contained by something, dome or otherwise, that would be allowed to occur because the top layer is being recycled. It's being pushed by the lower layers, but it forms its layer of density gradients by virtue of the fact that it's contained. But on an open system, all of that gas just immediately bursts into space because there's nothing stopping it from doing so because it's under pressure. All of it is under pressure. So the one at 1 psi is under a little bit of disequilibrium, but the one at 14.7 that we breathe is under a huge amount of disequilibrium, but all of it is pushing away from the Earth. Now, we do have gas pressure, we breathe it, and nobody contests it. But because we have the gas pressure, and we know that it's at the ground level, it's at the highest, it's that disequilibrium where objects want to find their own equilibrium. That's entropy, right? So all the objects that are in the atmosphere under pressure will seek their own equilibrium state because that's what happens. Why? Don't know, just does it. But the point is, it can only happen if it's an enclosed system. It can't happen on an open system because it would fill the void of space. It would just go straight away into space.
Yeah, I could see how they could easily lie about that, at least to a certain degree.
And the layers are created by the volume of gas that's created. So if you have more helium, if you put a shed load more helium and reduce the amount of nitrogen, then you would just get a different layer of distribution. Like it would just be a fatter layer or a thinner layer. But don't forget, it's dynamic. It's being mixed up by the sun. And that's the reason why it's like there's no segmentation from it. There's no separation. There's no ability to be layered because it's being mixed up by the sun continuously, all the thermal cycles and all that. So because it's dynamic, you're never going to get it settling. You're never going to get equilibrium or thermostatic equilibrium, I think they call it.
Yeah, and
Is
the
that
helium
right?
would still rise because even though it's all mixed up, it would still rise through all of it. You know what I mean? You're saying it's all mixed up, but the helium is still lighter than the whole mix altogether.
Yeah, and the nitrogen and the oxygen are the heavier ones, and they're going to reside more towards the bottom by virtue of their atomic weight or their atomic mass. Look into what was the phrase that they used to describe that? I think it was called the atomic. It'll come to me, but the answer is it all revolves around being contained, and it revolves around that the biogeochemical cycle, the creation of gases at sea level or ground level.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just saying on both models, the helium would still be rising. So that's why I'm saying that they could easily get away with lying about that to a certain point as well. I'm agreeing with you.
The helium would rise, but only on one model would it stay. On the other model, all of the atmosphere would rise because it's all under pressure, all at once pushing away from the Earth, because that's by definition the definition of pressure, pushing it, exerting its pressure against the walls of its container, which would be Earth.
So on one reification fallacy, it'll work, and on the other reification fallacy, it doesn't work?
No, in real science, I'm not talking about in reification in models. I know I did say models. I'm just contrasting between the two. But we can demonstrate what happens with pressure in a vacuum, but we can't demonstrate what happens with pressure in a vacuum without a divide of some kind, dome or otherwise. So at the end of the day, the real physics is what we rely on, and we can demonstrate that you can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum without some kind of barrier.
Yeah.
And for that man there who's been talking about dealing with questions from ballers about this issue, the 9.8 meters per second squared is a calculation, not a measurement. So there's no physical evidence of that whatsoever. It's just a calculation that they try to add to things. There's no physical, like if you drop a leaf and you drop a can of beans, what's going to fall faster? You know, it's not.
What about
like
dropping a helium balloon?
Well, that'll go up. No, so there you
it
go.
ends. I think QE's point, Brian, is that it ends there. That violates their claim to be law of gravity instantly.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Totally.
I want to give Sleeping Warrior kudos. The consistency and quality of that explanation was superb. I missed the bit where you juxtaposed it with a false dichotomy. I tuned out for a second, but QE caught it. But before that point, I was thinking, wow, Sleeping Warrior is getting really, really concise with this.
Yeah, he is. He just has to remove the fallacies and it'll be spot on.
But sometimes you have to, if you're going to go into the argument, their model, you have to have the same arguments that they have by countering their fallacies with a fallacy.
They don't. When I say I unbuckle my pants, take a big poo on their assertion and their model, I don't then put them back on again and go, oh, well, by the way, here's my model. I just run away laughing, going, ha 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 ha, your model's a joke. What's that you say?
Yeah.
I need to give you a model? No, I don't.
They still want you to explain why their model's wrong, but they just deny it anyway. They just literally, I had a guy that claimed he did 12 years of studying of fluid dynamics, right? And I've never heard anybody do 12 years studying in any topic, let alone just fluid dynamics. And he couldn't understand that whilst I was trying to explain to him that when you have atmospheric pressure, we'll give you gravity just for shits and giggles for this conversation, but you need to have mass. Because if you have mass and gravity, you then have atmospheric pressure. But where's the mass when it comes to gases? And he couldn't get his head around the fact that when you collect a shed load of molecules of any gas, when you collect them all in a bag, he couldn't get his head around why that is not applicable in the Earth's model, on their model, because unless we're under a dome, then you can't do that. In an open system, you can't enclose it with a bag. So when I said to him, right, so if you can't get your head around that, you're never going to understand why this doesn't work. But the fact is, on an open system, there's no bag around it giving you the ability to have a collective mass. So you're left with just the molecule. There's no intermolecular bonding. There's only intramolecular bonding. And you haven't got a collective whole. You've just got the molecule and that's it. Not a collective whole. Not a quantity per volume. That's like a concentration. I said, and everything he threw back at me for a guy that studied for 12 years, he claims, on fluid dynamics. He just could not get his head around the fact that he can't have this explanation for mass to satisfy the definition of atmospheric pressure.
Well, I'll give you a quote from Conspiracy Cats in reference to your bag. It's slightly different. Without the balloon, there is no pressure. That's 2019. And the second is, without the container, there can be no pressure. End quote. Those are both Conspiracy Cats quotes in that regard. But in terms of this guy, I think you've answered your own question. 11 years, did you say? Well, that's because he doesn't understand. You explained that as well. That's why it's taken him 11 years to get stuff like this.
I'd like to hear the answer to the question. Ask him if liquids and gases are the same. And then when he says no, tell him to stop using fluids. Then, you clown.
I did have that with him. I tried to get him to distinguish between gases and liquids being intermolecular bonding, and he wouldn't go past it with being collected in a bag. And I said to him, well, this is the reason why you're stupid. You can't collect it in a bag unless you admit that we must be contained.
Who were you arguing with?
I will send you a link, John. His name is... Bear with me.
Rawr.
His name is Sparker Engineering.
Barker? That's his name?
That's his... Well, that's his copy link address. There we go. I'll send it to you on Skype. That's his handle on YouTube.
YouTube? Why isn't he in here?
Maybe he will be soon.
He just doesn't happen to be in here.
Did you give him the link to be in here?
I've sent you
He's
the
a
link, John.
subject
You can
matter
add on-
expert,
challenge
right?
him and send him the link if
He
you
shall
want.
be heard.
Yeah, man. Subject
I'll,
matter
I'll
expert.
send the link to him and see if I can get him in.
Yeah, he shall be heard. 4 more hours, man.
I was going to say, I'm looking for that golden opportunity to round out this show, and I'm not going to get it, am I?
I knew it was coming. 4 more hours,
I'm on
man.
mute.
Can I say something about fluids quickly?
Let's just establish what's going to happen with this dude. Are you literally right now sending him a link, Anthony?
Yes.
My God, I hate you sometimes. The show will continue. Stay tuned.
His last comment, I've just read his last comment. His last comment to me was when I tried to explain to him that he's wrong, and he just won't accept it. I said to him, my last comment was, "You are mistaking the concentration with mass. Mass is the amount of matter in something by your own definition. If you calculate the amount of molecules in a meter cube of air, that's a volumetric calculation, but does not satisfy the definition of mass. Find any definition that helps you, and I will show you how it does not. It's limited to the object in question, not a concentration of that object inside a hypothetical box. Come on, man, you're wrong. Just concede." And his response was, "Haha, that's the definition of an oxymoron. Look, I can see there's not going to be any convincing you. I'm out. I'm not conceding. I know I'm correct. If I wasn't, people would fall out the sky and die. That's pretty central to the physics of flight and what I do every day. So keep your fingers in your ears and keep singing, dude. Stay happy, dumb and happy." He was on about, he was saying that you can have gas pressure without a container because he works on gas turbine engines, plane engines. And he was saying that when there's the moment of compression and the fans, and it creates the pressure. And the fans push the pressure way out the back of the turbine.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. Hold on, Anthony, can you hear me? Anthony, I'm really sorry to interrupt. You said when there's the point of compression. Compression of what?
Yeah, that's what I said to him. I said, remove the jet engine that's creating the container to give you the pressure, and then you ain't getting no pressure anymore.
No,
And he walked a bit.
that's not what I mean. What's the turbine compressing?
It's compressing. Well, I'm not sure how turbines work, but they put fuel in it, and they can bust the fuel under pressure, and then it
Fuel
spits
and
out the
what?
back.
Fuel and what? Where did they get that from?
Outside.
Where did that come from?
Don't know. Just happens to be there.
But isn't that the very crux of your question to him? How can you have the gas pressure that we have in the first instance without it being contained? And he's saying, well, using this gas pressure that I've already got, I'm going to give you an example. Okay? Well, that seems very unreasonable, given that your question revolves around the existence of the gas pressure in the first instance without containment.
Yeah.
So he's going to utilise the gas that we have, that you're saying would require a containment, to give you an example where it doesn't need containment, even though he's got it in the first instance. We've got gas pressure already.
It kind of sounds like Zanuck and his little red herring of, oh, look, an airplane wing, there's a differential in pressure. But, okay, where's that pressure in the first place? Like, where's the air that the plane is flying through? Where did that come from in the first place? No response.
Yeah, what's it pressing on? What's the gas that he's going to compress in the turbine or use to have a differential for the lift? Where's that come from in the first place? How have we got that gas pressure if the sky's a vacuum? The gas would have dispersed into the available volume. So where do we have it in the first place? Oh, it's created at the ground and gets less as you go up. That's fascinating. And when we get to the top, what's it pressing on up there? Oh, it just hangs around at the Kármán line, an arbitrary position that we designate how much volumetric pressure we're going to be measuring today of the gas that's next to a vacuum.
Riley, whenever you ask these guys, how do you weigh gas? What is their usual response to that? Do you ever ask them that?
Yeah, they put it in a container. They weigh a container.
Oh.
Fill it with gas.
So wait a minute. So the only way you could weigh gas is to put it in a container, yet they believe that air has a weight to it that's keeping it down, but don't believe that there's a container.
Correct. They
Wow.
can't see it. It's like when I say to them, where does the pressure come from in the first place? Let's not argue about how there is a gradient. We all agree there's a gradient. Where does that come from in the first place? And then they always say gravity. I'm like, right, but you realise that gravity's not a force according to current science, and they'll accept it. And then I say, so how do we have the pressure then? And then they say you walk outside and there it is, like we have the pressure. And I'm like that, and they say, well, we must have gravity. I'm like, but you know that gravity's not a force, so something else must be giving it us. It must be, otherwise Einstein must be wrong. And they just don't get it. They whistle past it.
Are they still arguing for hydrostatic pressure? Are they still arguing with you about that? Are they still trying to claim
Wait a
there's
second.
hydrostatic pressure? in the atmosphere?
Hydrostatic pressure. Somebody define hydrostatic pressure for us right now. I want citation with it.
It's a pressure within a liquid that's static, or a solid can have it too, supposedly.
No,
liquid and
that's not the definition of hydrostatic pressure. I want it cited.
I can't do that on my phone.
Why? What's the beef here?
There's going to be a big beef here when these clowns refer to hydrostatic pressure. You're going to see it once you hear the exact definition.
Is the key word that you're going to look for, John, at rest?
Nope. That's one of them. Do I have to go get it?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to give it another 2 or 3 minutes for this chap to respond.
I don't think he's going to respond, Nathan. I think you're safe to round out.
Fair enough. Well, let's round out with hydrostatic pressure and why it's relevant to a globe head, utilised, and then not relevant because.
All right.
Can I
All right. Hydrostatic pressure refers to the pressure exerted by a fluid, and it has gas or liquid in parentheses, at any point in space within that fluid, assuming that fluid is incompressible and at rest.
Exactly what point I was going to make.
So, is a gas incompressible?
No.
And is a gas at rest?
It's compressible.
At the point that you would define it in fluid terms, don't hate me, then no, you'd not be able to compress it any further. And therefore it would seem to behave kind of in a liquid-like manner, otherwise known as fluid.
Yeah. Gases, one of the quintessential tenets of a gas is that it's incompressible. Or it's compressible, excuse me. And gases are never, ever at rest, or they wouldn't be a gas. Thanks.
It'd be a solid.
That was the exact thing I was going to say about fluids, Nathan.
Perfect. Ideal opportunity to round out the show. With that, I'll say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!